Hello there everyone and welcome to Lydia's Crafty Corner. Today we're going to be looking at rainbow florals and 3 ways to use a background stamp. So first up I am going to be using the Ethereal roses or Ethereal roses from Altenew, and I am going to be stamping all of these beautiful flowers in various different colours. So I'm just going to first place them onto a panel of cardstock. It's white cardstock, and just to get them into place. Now the first set of flowers that I will be doing are like a reddy pink colour, so the base of those are going to be the pink pearl. I've then switched out a panel of cardstock for the orange flowers. For those ones we're going to go with Sun-Kissed for the base there, and then Buttercream for the base of the yellow ones. For the base of the greens we're going with Bamboo, and then Mountain Mist for the base of the kind of lagoony colour flowers. We're also going to have some blue ones in there too, so I am going to be using the beautiful Iceberg for that one, and then we're going to go with Wisteria for the base of the purple flowers. So we're going to have 7 sets of flowers all on different panels of cardstock. For the second layer, we're going to go with Coral Bliss for the pink red tone flowers. Then we're going to go with the orange cream for the orange. We're going to go with the Warm Sunshine for the yellow, and then the beautiful Parrot for the greens. And then for the lagoony type colors, we are going to go in with the Volcano Lake. As you can see, I am kind of moving out each of the panels every time I do this, but keeping the stamps in the same place. The blue, I did use the Eastern Sky, and then for the purple, I used the Hydrangea. We're then going to move on to the third layer, so I've just moved the stamps into place onto the base layers, and then we're going to be going and moving each of the panels in turn. For the red, I used Heartbeat. I then moved on to the Autumn Blaze for the orange. For the yellow, I went in with Honey Drizzle, one of my favorite yellow colors there is. The beautiful Olive was used for the green flowers, then the Lagoon for the lagoony flowers. Then we went on to the Ultramarine for the blues and the Ultraviolet for the purples. So once that was done, I then moved all of the little layers again. So this is the 4th layer for these beautiful flowers that we have. Vineyard Berry is going to be using for the red flowers. Then we're going to move on to the Firebrick for these beautiful orange ones. Then I went into the the Yellow Ochre, for the yellow. Then I went into the Moss for the green, the beautiful Emerald for the emerald lagoony colours. Then we went into the Azurite for the blues, and then the Andromeda for the purple colours. The 2 largest flowers have a 5th layer. For the red one, I did go with the Rhodolite. Red Jasper was for the orange. Then I used some Raw Amber for the yellows. We had the Green Opal for the greens. Then I used the Green Onyx for the turquoise colours. I then moved on to the beautiful Tanzanite for the blues, and I just used Obsidian for the purples. Once that was done, I then moved on to the leaves. I did start off with a really light grey, but then I didn't really like that, so I'm just going to stamp over that one again. And this time I'm going in with the Silver Lake. So it's a really light grey, but not too light, because I did want to be able to see it. Once I have stamped all of those on all of the respective panels, I then moved on to the second layer. And for these ones, I am going to use the grey denim for those. You can see just how pretty all of these images are here. You could definitely use these on cards on their own right, but I did want to go for that beautiful rainbow theme. So you can see just how pretty they are, and I love them all. So once they have all been stamped, I'm then going to die cut each of them using the coordinating dies. As you can see, I'm just popping them around the image that they coordinate with, adding a little bit of masking tape there just so they don't move. And then that's how I'm going to cut all of them, and you can see just how pretty they do look now. So for the backgrounds, I'm going to be using the Climbing Leaves, and I'm going to do 3 different looks with the same background stamp. So for the first one, I am going to be stamping onto some vellum, and I'm going to be heat embossing this. So I'm just going to stamp that into place onto the vellum using some of the beautiful embossing ink from Altenew, and then I'm going to heat set that using some pure white embossing powder. You can see that I am heating that from behind, and I find that that stops movement of the powder. I'm then going to move on to a piece of white cardstock. So this is just normal white cardstock. And I'm just going to do the same as before. I'm just going to be stamping that using some of the embossing ink from Altenew. I'm then going to add some of the pure white embossing powder over the top and then heat set that as well. So that's our second background that we have there. I'm then going to move on to a third. This time around, I am going to be using that Morning Frost ink just to add a ink layer to that stamp that we have, and we're just going to be stamping that onto some white cardstock. That's going to give us a really subtle look there. So we have 2 heat embossed ones and then just 1 grey embossed. Now for each of these backgrounds, I am going to be using the die. So I'm just going to add it into place and then add a little bit of tape and then run that through my die cutting machine. And you can see just how pretty each of those backgrounds look with that kind of the things popping through. So for the first card, I'm just going to add 2 clusters into place onto the white embossed background on the white cardstock. I am going to add a little bit of shadow using the Silver Lake ink just behind each of the flower clusters. You can see that I've kept the flower clusters together using a little bit of masking tape before adding some foam tape to keep them into place. Once the flowers are in place, I can then add my little leaves into place. I love that these greys really make those flowers pop, especially in the rainbow colors. I'm just going to snip away any of the overhanging pieces and then move on to the grey stamped background. You can see that I have cut this down. I did cut 1/4 inch off the top and the sides. This is going to be slightly smaller, so 4 by 5 1/4. So that's what the size is now. I'm then going to add a cluster of all of these rainbow flowers into the center of this one. It kind of looks like a beautiful mandala, I think. So once I have the flowers in place with some foam tape, I can then add in some leaves and kind of tuck those into place using some glue tape. Once that one's done, I'm then going to move on to the beautiful vellum one now, and I'm going to cut that down to the same size as I did the stamped one, so 4 by 5 1/4. And this time now I am going to add the rest of the flowers that I have. So on the other ones I use 1 of each color. This time round I am going to be using 2 of each, and I'm kind of having like a gradient effect of that rainbow flowing down the card in 3 different clusters. 1 at the top, 1 on the right hand side, and 1 on the bottom left corner. Once I'm happy with the placement of these, I'm then going to add these into place with the foam tape to add a little bit of dimension. And then once that's done, I can then add in some leaves too. Once that's done, I'm then going to add some foam tape behind all of the backgrounds and then pop them into place onto my card fronts. Once they've been added onto the card fronts, I can remove any of the overhanging pieces using some scissors. So here are all of the backgrounds and the flower clusters, and I'm just loving them. For my sentiments, I did go with the bold sentiments stamps there. I've just stamped those onto some white cardstock. I used my Obsidian black ink, but you can use whichever black ink that you find works best for you. Once it was nice and dry, I then took some really long bladed scissors and cut around the sentiments, just leaving a little bit of a white border around each of them. I then popped them in place to see where they would work best. Once I was happy, I then took a ruler to make sure that they were nice and straight before adding them into place using some foam tape. So here are the cards complete. I really do love how these turned out. I love rainbow cards, and I love each of the backgrounds as well with that slightly different look. I really do hope that you like the cards too and that you've enjoyed the video. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it'd be great if you do share because we'd love to see. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again really soon. Bye-bye.
Tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.